Right, here we are in Greece, just across from Corfu, and we've got a bit of a water problem. Ingress of water coming into the boat via the rudder seals. These are the rudder seals here from Jeffer. 2 seals, 1 Delring ring to like keep it hooked in place, and I've taken them off before to inspect them, but yeah, their leakage is quite significant. Don't need any real special tools to pull it out. I manufactured this little hook. And basically, you slide it down. I slide it down sideways. Just turn it and pull it to help pull the seal out. You can get some specialized pair of pliers that have little hooks on them, but not needed. You'll need an Allen key, and you might need some bolts. Last time I took the whole Quadrant off, didn't need to. Pops right off, but I'll show you that as we go. It doesn't take long to do, but no one's got it on. I haven't seen this on YouTube anywhere, particularly for Moody owners. So it seems to be an issue. So let's see how we go. Right, g'day guys. I'm just about to replace the rudder shaft seals off the. I've got to remove the Quadrant, a few bits and pieces here, and replace it with original Jeffer seals. Here's the Delring ring. Well, they've sent me 2 of those, or 1 of these. That one's like double the thickness, and I may have to trim that down. So these little babies were quite expensive. Got them out of Denmark, posted to Montenegro, and they were horribly expensive for what they were. These 2 here, got for free from a mate in Australia. They're double lip seals, same size. I think that these would actually be better than those, but since I paid the money for these, I'm going to put these ones in and keep these as a backup. Jeffer do send some instructions. It's pretty basic about how to install. They highlight that you need to clean everything, the shaft, make sure everything's grub free, and then apply a light coating of grease to the outside of the seal to facilitate installation. And it's just a case of popping them in and then locating this Delring ring at the top, which helps retain them, stops them from pushing out. The tools that we require are basically these. I think this is an 8mm Allen key, a couple of pairs of pliers, long nose, 17mm spanner, just in case we have to take off a few nuts and bolts over there. I have taken this off before to inspect it, and I took too much off, so I'm going to try and keep it simple and easy. And then the other thing was that I fabricated a little hook. See that? Just bend it back, and basically that you slot that down the side of the shaft on the edge, and just pull up the other seal. They do come out with a bit of a tug, but you can buy a seal puller. I didn't think it was necessary. So reason why we're replacing these seals is because we do have water coming in, and if you have a look down there, there's a little bit of water. It doesn't look too bad, but trust me, a lot of water's been coming into the boat. Particularly, yeah, we've been under motor. We're in the med, short for motor every day, and the water gets forced up through the shaft seal because the shaft seal is worn, and yeah, ends up in the bilge. So we've been getting a significant amount of water, and I have to check the bilges several times during the course of the day when we're motoring. But this should fix the problem. It can be caused also the worn seals. The end of each season, or the start of each season, they do recommend it to a bit of hot water down on the seals, get rid of the crystallization. salt crystals, because it's the salt crystals that damage the seal, cut into the seal, which then cause it to warm. Now in my case, it's only the seals that are worn and not the bearings. I've checked the bearings, and it's the rudder and everything's quite firm and tight. But we are hauling out in a month's time, but we can't wait. This is a significant safety issue, so we need to get it done. So without further ado, Donna's going to be the camera lady, and we'll proceed to dismantle and reinstall. Thank you. Okay, so I've loosened off these Allen bolts. I've had to loosen off this ever so slightly, the cabling ever so slightly. Now what I did was I just measured the amount of thread that was exposed when they were tight, jotted it down so that I have the same settings. I popped off the autopilot, that just pulls off. The activator, just got a spring clip, pop through, lift that out, and so I take the bolts out. I've already pre-loosened them because you don't want to watch me undoing that. And then I'll just get the camera off Donna and I'll show you something. On this side we've got a keyway right there, okay, a Woodruff key it's called. So this should pop off straight off, so but that helps. See, there's a slot in the quadrant and there's a slot in the shaft, and then the keyway fits in between. So just be aware of that. It might be stiff if it hasn't been removed for some time. So okay, so I'll pop this off and let's have a look. You can see here, see all that water that's there? That's being pushed through. So hopefully we're not going to sink in this process, but we'll soon find out.
Okay, I'll write down.
Right, good. So here's the quadrant. Doesn't look like it's going to play the game, so we may have to loosen off the cables a bit more. Stop. So I've had to remove the nuts off here, and what I'm doing now is I'm putting a zip tie in position here. You can see it? Can you see that, Donna? Mm-hmm. Right, to show how far back this pulls in, and I'll do the same on this one across this side. Okay, so just to reiterate what we've done, remove the nuts, locking nuts off the adjusters, but I've put a zip tie on this part here to mark how far that the bolt pulls in either side. So I've got a memory so that the steering will be in probably the same position. You will note also that they've previous owner Brian, everything's sort of well lubed to stop friction on the cables. So something to also consider on these junctions here. So anyway, now I'm just going to slacken off these cables here, and when you reinstall them, just take a note where the cable's running. So this one's along the top and the other one's along the bottom on this side. So top this side, bottom that side. So from here it's fairly simple. We just got to pull this off. So let's do it. Right. So we've had to take the tension off this cable. So we've put a nut on the end of the thread, so not to damage it, and then we're just going to give it a slight tap, and that releases the tension off the quadrant. Okay, stop. We've wiggled the quadrant to one side, which gives us enough free space to access the rudder shaft clearly. So now I've got my little tool. I'm going to pull out the dowel ring clip ring now. can't swear. Right, so we've freed the Delring ring. Not quite how I thought it'd be, but that's what they look at. Could reuse that, but we're not going to. So now we've got to pull these out. So this is the scary bit, everyone. Stop. So I've hooked it. I'm just going to help it out. You see all the salt crystallization, all this black stuff? Salt crystals. So that just destroys the seal. Okay, stop. So what we're doing now, we're just going to grease up these seals as per the instructions from the rudder Jeffer. So we've got everything prepped, ready to go. Of course, these seals are only going one way, which I'll show you in a minute. So our next thing is to pull out this final seal here. You can see the water. Fair big, so right. Stop. Okay, so what I'm doing here, I've just got some 180 wet and dry. I'm just linishing we've got a bit of crap on the shaft from that crystallization, and it all feels pretty good now. So just be very careful when you do it. But so now we got clean shaft. So lip seals, that is the top, that is the bottom. Insert it nice and gently. It should be a tight fit. We've got a tight fit. So we put that on, and you'll notice now none of that water is pushing through. Alright, so I'm going to take that down. Now we do the same with this one. Again, when we put down, make sure it's all clean. Inspect it for grit and dirt. When you put it on, it's got a chamfered edge, so the top of the shaft. And then just push it down nice and evenly. Once again, it's going to be a tight fit, but it's got to be square when you go down, so it'll fit in nice and snugly around all of that. And then, if we go down far enough, which I think we have, see, no water. So then we put the dowel ring, white rings on, please, Donna. It's retaining clips. And these look like they're going to be a bit of a Houdini fit. Stop recording. So I got the ring in. It was a bit awkward, I have to admit. So what I did, to make sure that the two seals were located properly, firmly, I got a piece of timber and lightly tapped at alternate sides just to make sure it's located down as far as I could. But then with the ring, I had to sort of force one end in and hold it with a screwdriver, being careful not to damage anything. And then I forced jigged the dowel ring retaining clipping around. So now basically what we got to do is we'll clean up, readjust put our adjustment back as it was. We've got our zip ties, and Bob's your uncle. We're all done, but I'll give a summary in a minute once I've got it all back together. But it is fairly basic, fairly straightforward. As I said, basically we start off, we undo the 4 hexi nuts that hold the quadrant together. In this instance, I released this 17mm nut there, pulled that out, that's over there. There's a spacer that goes in underneath, in between. And then I took off the lock nuts as well as the earth lead to release the quadrant itself, which then allowed it to slip around. You notice the keyway here. So when we put it back together, we just got to make sure it's located in this spot here. So we'll do that. We may have to just loosen off the actually we can turn this by hand, so we can use a spanner, big shifting spanner on this. And then the most important thing is that with the adjustment, we get the adjustment correct. So we've got the zip ties, which are going to show us how far we need to tighten up the nuts. We've got to also make sure that we put the earth lead back on. That's most important. Okay, so time for coffee, and then we'll put it back together. So when installing the quadrant, so you've got to line up the keyway here, right there. So what you can do to make it a better fit, the key has got to fit all the way up to the top. So you've got to make sure it's located all the way to the top, and you can turn the shaft. Just get a big spanner and just turn around a little bit at a time, just to line it up, and then it'll just pop in. And at the moment, it's just being held by the keyway, and then we'll put the locking part of the quadrant onto here. So I'll put the earth lead back on. I'm going to screw on the nuts on this first. I won't tighten it, but I'll get them in, because on this particular side the locking mechanism gets in the way. Okay, a bit of a tip when you're putting this quadrant on, the locking nut. So use a screwdriver just to help screw in the hexi bolts. Just it makes just a bit easier. And when you do it, do opposite top, then bottom, top left, bottom right, bottom left, top right, and nip it up evenly. So when it's all done up, we don't want a gap, or when it's tight, we want an absolute even gap. Okay, otherwise you'll put undue stress and strain on everything. Okay guys, we're all done, all finished. So everything's nice, tight, secure, greased up, dried out. It took me probably 90 minutes to 1.5 hours to 2 hours, tops, absolute tops. That's with coffee break and mucking around a little bit. Tools, as I showed you at the start of the video, but a couple of extras that you'll need are some zip ties, just to strap around to mark your point of tension for your cabling. Make sure that you line up that shaft with the woodruff key properly. I used a big spanner, just a shifter, to just move the rudder shaft around, line it up, dry it all up. It's not rocket science doing it. I think if I can do it, anyone can do it. Just a heads up on the size of the seals. And these aren't the Jeffer seals, but if you have a look, they're 50 by 80 by 10. So there's the serial number there. This is a double lip seal, and I reckon this double lip seal is actually better than the Jeffer ones. These were free. I got them off a mate who bought them for me in Australia, so that shows how cheap they are, as against the Jeffer seals, which cost me 300 euros. That's euros, guys, not dollars. So here's the details for Jeffer rudder systems. They're in Denmark. They are responsive to emails. They don't accept credit cards. It's got to be by bank transfer, but they won't release the goods until the money's in the account, but they are, once again, very responsive to all of that. Only extra tools that I used on the job were the zip ties, like I pointed out this earlier. I got the shifter there. I had a timber block hammer and the long screwdriver. I used the timber block and the hammer just to locate make sure the lip seal, sorry, the dowel ring, the retaining clip was installed properly. Other than that, yeah, let's move on. I know I said I wasn't going to be doing DIY videos, and this is sort of a DIY, but there's nothing, couldn't find anything on YouTube about this anywhere. So I felt that this would be something that would be quite useful for other people that are thinking about attempting it. We did do this in water. We had to. We had a serious leak, and I'd taken the seals out before to measure them up and size them up, but when I put them in, they started to leak a lot more. So we are hauling out in 4 weeks' time in Cleopatra Marina in Provisa. So we'll double check everything. But yeah, I said I'd already been in the water and checked the movement of the rudder shaft and the rudder, and the bearings in that are quite fine. But where we did it in water, the conditions were absolutely dead calm. And that's why I chose to do it today, because we've been getting a significant amount of water passing through into the bilges. So I felt that it needed to be done sooner than later. So some might disagree, but it has. I've read that others have done it in water, and that's why we chose to do it in water. The seal is above the water line, not below the water line. So anyway, I hope that helps. And if you want to see other DIY videos, let me know. Otherwise, I'm not going to put them up. You know, I've got plenty of stuff that we've done on the Moody. We've installed waste tank. We've cleaned the bilges out. We've done the keel bolts. I've installed solar, lithium, serviced the motor. Done lots of things that may be helpful to others. But yeah, once again, there's a lot of DIY stuff on YouTube. So yeah, you can go and look it out there. Anyway, take it easy. Thank you and goodbye.